Alright everybody, welcome back to Algebra 1. Today we're learning how to do absolute value equations. Take out those notes, pencil, and today, yes, you need a calculator. And let's begin. So, absolute values. I always tell people that absolute values are kind of like the gates of Disney World. Whenever you enter the gates, no matter what was happening on the outside, now once you're in there, it is positive. So, let me show you what I mean. So the absolute value of x equals 12. What I have to do for this is I'm going to write it 2 times, but with no bars. Just like that. However, the second time I write it, I'm going to write a negative in front. Okay, normally I would solve each equation. However, it's already solved, so I'm finished with this problem. That's all there is to that one. Seems easy, right? So I could check this. To check it, I put a 12 in there in the absolute values. And notice I have 2 answers, so I have to do this twice. So the first time I'm going to put a 12 in here. The second time I put a negative 12 in here. Okay, remember, these are like the gates to Disneyland. No matter what was happening, when your kid goes inside those gates, they become positive. So, inside Disney, 12 is 12, positive 12. Kid was happy when he went in, he's happy when he's in there, positive 12. So, a negative went inside there. So, in other words, unhappy, screaming child goes into Disney, then he becomes positive. So, 12 equals 12. That's why we have 2 possible answers here. Alright, let's make it a little trickier. This time, notice the absolute values are all alone on this side of the equal sign. They must be all alone for this to work. Since they're all alone, I'm going to write it 2 times. X minus 5 equals 12. Let me get rid of this. Too much. And then x minus 5. X minus, I misspelled minus, x minus 5 equals 12, but this time I make this negative 12. And then I solve both of these. You'll always do the same thing in both equations, so if you want, you can do them both at the same time. 5 minus 5 cancels, and this gives me x equals 17. Now if you get the same answer again here, you probably screwed up. So check your math. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7. Those are your 2 answers. If you wanted to check your answers because you want an A on your test, of course you do, you're going to recopy this twice. So I'm going to be kind of lazy and just hit the duplicate key, like that. And I'm going to do it twice. Okay, just like this. I'm going to move this stuff out of your way. Alright, now that I've written it twice, instead of x, what should I put there? Well, hopefully you said 17. And instead of this x, what should I put there? Hopefully you said negative 7. So let's write those in right now. 17 goes right here instead of x. Negative 7 goes right there instead of x. And now I am ready to go. So let's give this a shot. Now, the bad news is your calculator probably does not have an absolute value, so you're going to have to do a little bit of math in your head. Alright, 17 minus 5, that's going to give you 12. What's the absolute value of 12? Positive 12. So that's good. Then over here I have negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. What's the absolute value of negative 12? 12. Yes. So those 2 are my correct answers. Sometimes I try to confuse you by putting the equal sign and flipping where the absolute value is. So if you want to, you could just rewrite it so that the absolute value is first always. Just makes your life a little bit easier. Alright, so here we go. We're going to write it 2 times. One time like that. Copy it again. Again, no bars. We're writing it with no bars. And then instead of positive 9, this time it becomes negative 9. Alright, we know how to solve, so I'll do this very quickly. The 7's cancel. I have 2x equals 2. Divide by 2, and I get 1. Then over here, I subtract the 7. Divide by 2. And I get x equals negative 8. And that's all there is to that one. So easy to check your answer. Again, I'm going to go off of this one right here. I'm going to write 2 blank plus 7 absolute values equals 9. I'm going to write it twice. 2 blank plus 7 equals 9. Okay, here this equals 1, so I'll put a 1 in place of x. Here it's negative 8, so I'll put a negative 8 here for x. In my calculator, I type exactly what I see here. 2 times 1 plus 7, that is 9. What's the absolute value of 9? 9. That worked. Here I get negative 16 plus 7, which is 9 negative. What's the absolute value of negative 9? 9. Yes, this is good. We did it. Now it's your turn. You go ahead, try this one on your own. Hit pause, do it, and see what you get. Alright, it looks like you've got this. The absolute values are all alone, so I copy it twice. Once there, once there. The second time I change it to a negative. Then I solve. So here I subtract 7, I get negative 3. Here I subtract 7, I get negative 11. Remember, if you get the same answer for both of these, you probably screwed up. Sometimes it happens, but very rarely. Alright, now a different type of problem. Before, the absolute values were always alone. Here they are not. So your first step is to make them alone. Now some people want to distribute. No, we can never, ever, ever distribute into absolute values. So don't ever, ever, ever do that. Don't distribute. However, this is 2 times the absolute values. So the opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both of these sides by 2. This allows me to cancel 2 divided by 2. So I'm going to copy down the x plus 3 equals 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. Now I have the same type of problem that we just did. I can copy it 2 times. X plus 3 equals 4, and x plus 3 equals negative 4. Now you're wondering, could I have done that just in the beginning and put positive 8 and then negative 8? No, that will not get you the right answer. Please do not do that. Alright, so on both sides I'm going to subtract 3. That gives me x equals 1. Over here I subtract 3. That gives me x equals negative 7. Those are my 2 answers. Can I check my answer like before? Yes, it's exactly the same. So I'm going to copy 2 blank plus 3 equals 8. Copy it twice. Instead of x, I'm going to put 1 and negative 7. So this is where your calculator will not help you a lot. So this would give me 4. So this is 2 times, that's just positive 4, so 2 times 4 equals 8. Yes, that's right. Here, this would give me negative 4. So in the absolute value, negative 4 becomes positive 4. So 2 times 4 equals 8. Yes, that works. So I know I got it right. Alright. Now, this one. let's go ahead and divide both sides by that -4. These cancel. We're left with the absolute value of x plus 2 equals -2. Now remember, your goal is to get the absolute value all alone. If it's all alone, you're good to write it twice. However, something crazy just happened here. Did you see it? Right here, we have an absolute value. We said that absolute values are always positive. So no matter what, this is going to be positive, that answer. And over here, we have a negative number. So can a positive number equal a negative number? No, that's not going to happen. So since this has to be positive and that's negative, that means I have no solution. This only happens when the absolute value, all alone, equals a negative number. Whew. Sorry, I'm allergic to math. All right, so let's do some more examples right now. You go ahead, give this one a shot, see what you get. All right, hopefully you had it already. X equals 9 and x equals -9. Super easy, yes. Okay, you give this one a shot. All right, hopefully you saw that the absolute values are all by themselves, so you wrote it twice, like that. This time you're going to do +3 and +3, and +3 and +3 here. Those cancel. That gives me x equals -4 and x equals 10. Alright, you go ahead, try this one, hit pause, and then come back when you're done. Alright, looks like you did it. Here we had to divide by 3 first. Remember, the absolute value has to be all alone first, so because of that, I need to move the 3 away. So those cancel. Remember never to distribute into absolute values. This leaves me with 2x minus 12 in absolute values equals 8. Now the absolute values are all alone, so I write it 2 times. The second time, remember to change that to a -8. Then I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Those cancel. I'll add 12 to both sides here. Whoops, 12, there we go. And that here gives me 4. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I get x equals 10. And then here divide both sides by 2. I get x equals 2. Those are our 2 answers. Alright, this is the hardest absolute value problem I can give you. If you've got this, you are good. Go ahead, hit pause, try it, and then come back. Alright, like usual, I want to get the absolute value all alone. The first step to getting it alone is to add the 6 to both sides. Did you remember that? So those cancel, and I copy. This gives me 42. Next, I have a 3 touching my absolute values. I do not want those touching, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Next, I can copy the 2x minus 12. And I divide those. That gives me 14. Now the absolute value is finally all alone, so I can write it twice. The second time I change it to a -14. Alright, now we're going to add 12 to both sides in that equation and this one. Those cancel. I'm left with 2x equals 26. Here I have 2x equals negative 2. My final step is to divide by 2, and I got x equals 13 and x equals negative 1. Great. Alright, you go ahead, try this one, and again, if you've got this, you are good to go. Alright, looks like you've done it. So this time you remembered to subtract the 6 first. Those canceled. I'm left with 3x minus 9 in the absolute values. Over here it equals 12. I divided both sides by the 2 that was touching. Those cancel. Now the 3x minus 9, the absolute value is all alone, so I'm going to write it 2 times. Now I'm going to add 9 to both sides for both equations, here and there. This gives me 3x equals 15 and 3x equals 3. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I get x equals 5 and x equals 1. Alright, you have done it. You seem to be getting this pretty well. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Now you just have to do that homework. So get that homework done and have a beautiful day. Thank you again, everybody. Have a good one.